So I moved to Brampton the summer before my 9th grade year in high school. And I moved from a small town outside of Peterborough, where I lived with my dad, into Brampton to move with my mom. And there was a lot of changes. It was a lot of changes to undertake. For starters, the town that I lived in had just over 1,000 people in it. And going into my 9th grade year at high school, my 9th grade class alone had that same amount of people. So I came into the city of Brampton and I was overwhelmed with the diversity, and I quickly fell in love with all of the change. One of the biggest changes, though, when I moved in with my mom was church. So when I lived with my dad, we didn't go to church. Sunday morning was very much so sleep in, watch TV, catch up on chores. But living with my mom, church was a staple in our household. And I remember the first time I tried to push back and see what the limits were with, like church, this optional thing in my mind. And I said to my mom one Sunday morning, I said, I'm just gonna stay in today. Like, I'll see you after church. Don't even worry about it. And my mother looked at me square in the eyes and said, as long as you're in this household, living under my roof, I don't care if I have to drag you with your nappy head and your nightie. Every Sunday morning, we're at church. And so I went to church, and it didn't take long for me to fall in love with it. I built strong relationships with people there. I became rooted in the strength and love of the Christian faith. And next thing you know, I'm one of the youth leaders at our church, and I'm the vice president of the Christian group at my public high school. And fast forward a few more years, I'm graduating from Bible school in Georgia, getting ready to move back to Brampton, where I'm going to be living in the city I love, doing the thing I love, pastoring. And I pastored here in the city for 6 years. I was a youth pastor here, and during that time had an opportunity to organize youth rallies and did programming in the Catholic School Board and ran drop-in programs after school for youth. But while all this was happening, there was another intersection that I couldn't ignore. And that's the fact that I'm gay. And so in a lot of religious communities, it's hard to reconcile those two identities. And it's oftentimes not even safe for people to talk about those intersections. And as a result, we see very little representation of people who are living out of both of those identities. But I have a secret for you today. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of people who hold dearly the intersections of spirituality and queerness. And today I stand before you as a living, breathing example that it is possible for a person to reconcile, embrace, and honor both of those things. And the thing I love and I'm thankful for in this city is that this city is committed. It's committed to learning how to hold diversity and difference, where community groups and city leaders are beginning to ask themselves the very important question of whose voices are we missing in this conversation? And whose stories do we need to make room for? And so right now I want to share with you a spoken word that I wrote just all about this whole journey. I'm trying to let the love be louder than all this hate, but it's hard to stand tall when with their words they emasculate, they denigrate, they try to negate my place at the table, my place in this pew, my place in the front lines doing ministry for you. They say, I'm told to hate the sin, but love the sinner. But with their actions, they cheapen their words and make them thinner. They say, go back in the closet and lose the key, with each careless slur, throwing further judgment on me. But I say to them, it's not your table. You don't have the right to block my way. It's not your table. You can't keep me out just because I'm gay. It's not your table. You don't have the final say because it's not your table. After I've taken time to vent and feel and allow the defenses of my heart to unsteel in stillness and reflection, I find your peace. Allow me to let go of control and just cease. Cease striving and defending and trying to prove that I belong. Cease performing and cowering and dancing along to their song, because your invitation has been extended to me all along. For you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely your goodness and your mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Thank you.